What's going on, everybody? Carolina Combat is back today. Today we're joined by NCAA champ as well as NC State head associate coach. Coach, thanks for joining the show.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Getting into came to NC State in 2024. What kind of led to that decision?
Uh, well, I'm an East Coast guy, originally from New Jersey. Relationships with Coach Papalizio from Oklahoma State. That also, I have some family. My father lives in Raleigh. Uh, so uh, Although I got out of college, kind of quick, or got out of college and went to Olympic Training Center kind of quick. When this opportunity came, it was something that, I was looking into and looking forward to, and it made sense for the family and for my career.
Yeah, you've competed at the highest level as well as coached at it. So from going from athlete to coach, what been the biggest adjustment for you over the years?
Oh man, I mean, it's a lot. Probably just the biggest is, what I've gotten better or throughout my time and years is just, recognizing how selfless of a position it is. When you're the athlete, it's completely selfish, in the sense of, like, things revolve around you. And it's a lot easier to just, have that focus on yourself. So that transition where you go from the athlete to the coach, you're definitely more in a serving role rather than the person that's benefiting mostly.
You had Vincent Robson win a national title this past season. What does that do for your program and being able to have him for a few more years as well?
Oh, well, it brings great attention to NC State. Sometimes we're the program where, um, we have a guy make a world team, we have a guy win a national title, and you see that there's only maybe three other schools in the entire country that has an alumni that's currently training at their college that makes a world team, and um, you know, have another national champ. We're kind of one of those programs like, wow, I didn't realize that about NC State. So when you have a guy win on a big stage like Vince it brings the attention. It shows the development that the coaches are able to do. It shows a lot of value in the athletic department of how well they support your program. It obviously helps with recruiting. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that it kind of helps, you know, kind of gives that program, a legitness to it.
Speaking of Trent making the world team, I know he's been at the OTC some as well, but how's preparation so far going for that?
Been going great. Trent's awesome. He's one of a kind. I mean, I've coached at Oklahoma State for 15 years and was at Oklahoma State for 20 years with as an athlete and even just at the Olympic Training Center. He really is one of a kind. He's a person that takes his career into his own hands. He comes in motivated. He comes in motivating you as a coach too. He could even lift you up when you're maybe dragging a little bit, but uh, very, very unique. He's on his way actually back now from the training center. Jamil Kelly, our RTC coach, who's former Olympic silver medalist, has been working with him, pretty closely this summer. Him and Nick Wisdowski, who's back in town from Cornell, has been putting a lot of time in with Trent also. Um, Going overseas with him and coaching him at the Budapest. So yeah, I think that we're gonna get the best version of Trent at the World Championships. Every time I see him or I'm around him in practice, he seems like he's getting better every time. So his last performance in Budapest was definitely great data that we received and kind of showing that what we've been working or what he's been working is moving him in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, you can't, not every year you can make a world team, and there are people that don't do it in their lifetime. So it's something that's very
Right.
special, and I think that he's going to take full advantage of it, and I'm excited to go watch him.
When you're looking at recruits and guys you're looking to, build your program around, what are you looking for with your ideal recruits?
Oh, love and passion for the sport. I think that if you have love and passion for the sport, um, you take care of all other responsibilities. everything kind of falls in line. Your lifestyle, your culture. There's so many different things that you can look into. I mean, all those like key character development words that you can use. But for me personally, when I see a person that has some love and passion for the sport, they show up on time, they show up ready, they go to class, they strive to get the best grades that they can get. They don't go and party. They're good team players. They're good. They're great at lifting people up when they're down. So yeah, when I see the love and passion in it, you get everything that you're looking for.
The NCAA roster limits that are coming into play. What are your thoughts on that and the way, I guess, how do you approach building a team now compared to past seasons?
Yeah, it's tough. You miss out on. We carry probably about a 31, 32 man roster, so we're kind of close to it too. But you know, coming from other programs, like when I was at Oklahoma State, we had 40 guys on our roster. And I think that there's a lot of programs out there that are able to have, carry more than 30. So, with the limited amount of Division I schools, you're limiting that roster down. The opportunity to compete at a Division I program is tough. Whether you compete or whether you're on the team, some of my favorite guys that I've coached, were guys that weren't even starters, and it is what it is. But for us, the adjustment is, you're just not going to be able to give that opportunity to that kid that's on the fringe of it. Um, we all do have a job to assemble the best 30-man roster that you can, and unfortunately, sometimes you can't say yes to everybody. And part of me that actually kind of sometimes breaks my heart too, because how valuable being on a Division I roster, you know, can do for you. You get academic support, you get food, you get mentorship, you get a lot of things that
Absolutely.
come along with being a student athlete that people don't really kind of discuss or talk about. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it is what it is. There's a new way in college athletics, and this is a part of it. So unfortunately, it takes away some spots on a roster, but you know, we'll plug along pretty good.
You guys do have a strong recruiting class. You got Zack in the portal as well. So how are those guys adjusting to being on campus and how's their training been so far?
Oh, the freshmen are awesome coming in. Guys like Will Denny and Zapata and Rowan Tucker, and if I go through all of them, and then having Zach in from Iowa State gives another feel. But again, he's an East Coast guy from Long Island. Um, they're great. They got passion. Like I said, they come in the room, they're excited, they're ready to learn, and they're ready to get better. Um, you know, the skill level is high right off the bat. So you're already working with guys that you show them something, and they're doing it almost right away. So that's something that's really exciting, and you can see that they're going to be, um, you know, really, really valuable and important, for our lineup in the future. But yeah, they all came in this summertime, about a month, took classes, trained, got to know a little bit of the system, stayed here long enough that if they start to get homesick, it was time to go back home. A great way to wean themselves into college. Zach as a transfer, which, NC State, we really don't you you know chase after transfers or gotten many transfers in the past. um it's an adjustment, but he blended and fit in really well right off the bat. He's eager and he's passionate and he's here because he wants to go try and chase after a dream. And yeah, the guys have really opened their arms to him, and even guys at his weight class. I think one of the first or second day in, other guys that are in his weight class are going with them, and
Right.
I think that says a lot about the culture and the team aspect that we have. So, you know. wherever it goes this year, between him and other guys of the weight class like Troy Holman and maybe some others that pop in there. Um, you know, I think that they realize that they're only going to elevate each other.
With Stanford, you guys wrestled them last year at home, I believe. How do you navigate having kind of a West Coast matchup for the conference? Because most of your other conference opponents are, East Coast. So
Yeah, it's different. You know, ACC Atlantic Coast.
right.
We're flying out to the West Coast to do it. I think it obviously brings value because Stanford's a great team, and they have guys that they proved that they can have national champs and assemble guys that can be all Americans. And I think that Coach Ayers that's out there now is doing a good job building a dual meet team and a team that can compete at the national championships. Um, Obviously it's always tougher because if you're flying out to the West Coast, you need to tie in another duel with it. So, not to kind of give away the schedule yet, but we're working on a dual meet with another California team out there, so that when you go out there, you're not just flying out there for one duel or one match. Same thing, obviously, when they come here, they got their pick and option. I mean, obviously they tie in UNC or Duke with us. But yeah, I mean, makes travel a little bit tougher. It puts a little bit more on the budget, but in reality, it strengthens our conference because they are a good team.
I guess focus this offseason.
Well, we'll go through a little bit of phases in our training. So, technically wise, um, getting the freshmen adjusted. We kind of gotta go through a little bit of a phase throughout the summertime of positions and areas that we want to work, so that by the time we start season, um, we're ready to kind of get right after it. So it's a nice time that we're able to slow down, but getting to know obviously the freshmen, how to communicate with them, how to motivate them, and then the upper class guys, joining in and helping, mentor the younger guys, but continue with their strength training, and everything. But really, just staying active also is something that's really important. Not just we'll do a little bit of phases in our training where they're here for so many weeks and then go home for 2 weeks and then here for so many weeks and go home for 2 weeks. So um, it seems more and more like there's less of an off season, but it definitely gives us a lot of time to be able to make up and slow things down to improve so that, when we start next year, we're starting better than we finished.
Wolfpack RTC golf outing is October 10th. What can you kind
Yeah.
of talk about, promote that for anyone that's interested in going or
Yeah. It's a
whatever? Yeah.
great, it's a great time to support, the Wolfpack RTC. I don't think it's any secret now within the wrestling community. I mean, you know, to be able to fund guys to stay and train and mentor and help your college team also, and while having not just notoriety in the country but in the world. Trent, um, our Wolfpack RTC supports, it supports a lot of people. It supports Trent to train. It supports having guys like Nick Wisdowski, um, come in and help. Jamil Kelly, be a coach. Ed Scott, who's staying around to train. So all that resources go into being able to fund these guys to be able to to stay and train, and then that really rubs off on your college guys and your college team. So um, it's no kind of surprise that the best teams in the country, have this as they have it. So the one thing at the golf outing, it does support that too, but the team is around also, so it gives opportunity to fans to be able to come in and mingle with the team, get to know us on a different level outside of the arena, get to know the coaches, and really have a fun day together too.
Yeah, for you as a coach, how do you balance up when individuals, chase their personal goals, but also maintaining like a strong team dynamic?
Oh, just takes a lot of time,
Right.
a lot of time and communication and relationships. Um, I think that's the biggest thing. You try not to get blindsided by a lot, when you have 30 guys on a roster, and obviously it's not just our jobs. We have families too that we have to, spend time with too. But you try and just do your best of communicating, and but you need them present to be able to do that. So it's nice when we have guys, in the facilities that stop in and see us, or you go out to lunch with them, or so it's a lot of activities that you're doing outside of even the wrestling practice, to have these relationships so that they feel open enough to be able to talk to you. And sometimes when a problem arises, or a guy might be down on himself, a teammate will come and talk to the coach and say, "Hey, this guy needs a little bit more support." And having that is something that's better. But letting the guys know that you care about them, that you're going to try and do everything you can to help support them, says kind of a lot. And I think that's what helps with that blend.
You describe your coaching style or coaching philosophy, and I guess how has it evolved over your years throughout coaching?
um well, technically wise, I want to watch exciting wrestling. I think that's the culture that I came from, and the way I grew up is that, my philosophy is if you get if you get takedowns, you win a lot of matches. So from a technical side, my philosophy obviously is a lot on the feet. Not all the time do we do it,
Right.
not all the time does it come to fruition, out on the mat, but for the most part, the preaching is scoring takedowns, and putting points up on the board, and trying to, when fans are coming to watch matches, or you're at the NCAA tournament, bonus points are extremely important. So from a philosophy standpoint, I don't know how much that has changed, um, but if you get takedowns, you win a lot of matches.
Absolutely.
Now, philosophies on just how to coach and all those things. I mean, yeah, it changes throughout the time. Um, Guys coming to college with a little bit more mileage on their bodies, so be able to manage practices and to the season so they don't break down. A lot of those things have kind of changed, and you evolve with the science, and what has kind of been, with your diets and so that type of philosophy has changed a lot, as time goes on too. So, you're just constantly trying to learn and trying to keep up and stay ahead of the curve.
The coach with and also wrestle under John Smith. What's one of the biggest things you've taken from your time with him that you now implement into your coaching?
Oh, a lot of knowledge. Um, a lot of knowledge, from technical to just communication, and almost foreseeing things before they happen. Um, he was like, he was a great mentor in a sense of just, where his mind went, with it. I mean, sometimes he would ask a question. Um, Sometimes he'd ask a question, you thought you would have the answer, and it was like a completely different route,
Right.
or he'd ask you something, and he was just thinking about it in a different way. Um, One thing, especially towards the end of his career, that really rubbed off on me is how much of the sport that you're trying to do for the community, and uh, the longevity of the sport. I think that
Right.
was one thing that really rubbed off on me, is helping the community. I think what rubbed off on me the most, towards the end, was just the communication, or the community outreach, and doing the things that are going to help prolong our sport and help it to grow. And sometimes it also didn't really benefit you as an individual, as a program, but it was things that were necessarily needed. That, you know how are we going to help grow the sport? How are we going to help add more teams in college, add more teams in high school, create a community within your community, to promote wrestling, to develop wrestling, to get more, to help coaches. Um, yeah, one of the things that, the segue a little bit in is, we're doing our second coaches clinic.
Right.
We did one last year, and this year we're doing, another coaches clinic October 10th, and that was something that we did at Oklahoma State. That, with John, was that, we got to also being able to share our knowledge and our people around us with, you know the high school coaches in the area, or club coaches in the area, or even, the parent in the area that is getting involved with the kids club, to be able to maybe talk about moves and techniques and just be around them and give them opportunities to be around us, to ask us questions and things that maybe we take for granted that they're always, wanting to know about. I think that's some of the biggest stuff that I took from him towards the end. But technically wise, man, it was like you're working with Einstein every day.
Absolutely.
So,
Last year, you did earn a share of the regular season ACC title, and All Americans, all that stuff. What's your goals for this upcoming season?
uh, you know, to get better, to get, to keep developing through it. I mean, we have guys like Ryan Jack that's back in the lineup, and Jackson Arrington back in the lineup. So, you're always striving to win ACCs. You're always striving to be one of the top teams in the country at the end, and obviously put guys in the finals and have national champs. I mean, that's always obviously the goal of it, but um, you're trying to just really evolve these guys and fix any mental errors that they come up, or technical errors that are trying to come up. But uh, you know, the goal with them is that every week and every month they're getting better and they're moving towards, being that national champ. If we're doing that, then we put ourselves in position to win ACCs and do well on nationals. So it's hard to say, like, when we have goals. Yeah, I mean, our goals are the same as, like, when you communicate with anybody else. We want to bring a team trophy home. We want to win ACCs. We want to do all these kind of things. So yeah, but staying focused on the day to day stuff to get us there.
Just a couple more as we wrap up. With your time at Oklahoma State, whether it's winning an individual national title or team national title, what's one of your fondest memories of your time there?
Oh, the road trips. I think some stuff that guys will look back on when they're done with their career, or like the road trips that you're on there with your team. And it's actually kind of crazy, is like you'll talk more about the suffering moments that were fun than even, the exciting moments.
Right.
There's times you're cutting weight with your teammates, or we do a dual meet in some place, and you remember that kind of stuff. So I think those are the fun moments. I mean, we did camps in the summertime together, where we did a 10-day camp in Stillwater, and then we'd get in a car and drive 24 hours to Reno and do another 10-day camp, and
Right.
the entire month. And I mean, it was brutal. It was
Yeah,
brutal
absolutely.
work. But you remember that times, with your teammates, and how much better, and you got during that time. But I think those are some of my favorite memories.
As we wrap up, for any Wolfpack fans, if there's anything you could promote, any kind of message to the fans, anything like that.
Now, our golf outing, October 10th. I'm sorry, and then our coaches clinic, at the end of October. I want to say it's October 24th. It'll tie in with our wrestle-offs. So we'll have the coaches clinic on Friday and Saturday, and then go right into the wrestle off on Saturday. So if you're a high school coach or a club coach, or again, like a person that's helping with the clubs, we'll definitely would love to see you. But yeah, come to the matches and go pack.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, it's great to have you on today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.